personally, I've been working on this 18 months. This is a long time in the works, and Shannon's been working with this for almost a year. So it's a very involved program, but it's a powerful program. When you think about participating in 1% of the country's sales, break those numbers down. When you think about the potential of some of our markets, Mexico's number 7 in the world in direct sales. Okay, just to give you an idea, some of our competitors, you know, 100 million a year, 200 million a year, something like that. If you break 1% of that down and break that down into 25, you can run the numbers of what that could look like. So this is a significant program and a significant opportunity that is open for each of the international markets, okay? So for Canada, for Australia, and for Mexico, this pool will exist. So you are eligible to play in all 3 of them, 2 of them, 1 of them, or none. So I think it's important to understand that if you're Canadian, you can earn this and participate in this in Canada, okay? It's for your own market. This pool does not exist for the US market, but US ambassadors can play in all 3. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So the way it's good. I just want to make sure we're good there. So it starts, the first quarter is April, May, and June, with the payout before the end of July. However, we decided to retro the points, or the activity, if you will, for January 1. So what we're saying is this is a brand new ground floor opportunity, if you will, that begins January 1. So any prior activity, any prior points, any prior rank advancements, any of that does not count. One for that market specifically. So the way it's going to work is you essentially just think about becoming a senior Ruby in that country after January 1. That's the easiest way to really think about that. If you're one of the, okay, so there's 2 points to this, and Shannon's here to make sure sometimes my mind's all over the place, but
right?
she keeps me on. So the way this is going to work is if you are one of the first 25 to qualify in that specific market, we're going to give you the recognition and title of a founder for that country, and that's going to be an award. It's going to be recognized online and convention, things like that. It's a pretty awesome title. But that does not mean that you are guaranteed to continually play in the pool. Does that make sense? The title of founder is one thing, but actively each quarter is another. If you think Senior Ruby, we're actually, so there's three parts to this. Number one, you need to be commission qualified each of the 3 months for the quarter. Okay, so once you attain that, in order to be paid, you need to be commission qualified, but then you need to be paid as the equivalent of a Senior Ruby 2 of the 3 months. We don't care which 2, but just 2 of the 3 months. And there's a reason for that, right? We want you growing, we want you active, we want you doing something. This program is not meant to have you attain something and then just kind of fall away and you still get this awesome opportunity to share in the revenues of country sales. And as long as you're doing that, now it becomes, if you're one of the top 25 producers in that market, you will share each quarter. So those are the 3 things. So you want to
so if you can just say quarter, we're going to pull all ambassadors that meet all qualifications. Then we're going to rank you in order of how many points you have contributed in that market. And the top 25 or up to 25 will be the participants in the pool. So again, it doesn't mean that just because you have a founder title that you automatically qualify. It doesn't mean that once you participate in the pool that you automatically keep playing in that pool. You need to meet qualifications and rank in the top 25. And so it's really one of those things where we want you to continue producing. You need to keep producing and keep that point volume up.
Because it's a weighted average payout.
That was kind of...
Okay, it's not an even.
It wasn't rehearsed.
Yeah, we've done this enough.
We just worked with each other.
So it's not an equal share.
Right.
So if you're doing, say for example, 1,500 points and you do 1,000 and you do 675, we're going to weight that and you're going to get paid more. Yeah. Doing more and participating more in that market, okay? Because you're going to share in more. Now, think about this. If there's only 3 of you, so this is why you want to do this now. You do not want to wait. Because if there's only 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of you, guess what?
Get the whole pool.
You split it, you share the whole thing. The more people that qualify, obviously, the less it's gonna be. So I'm not gonna go through numbers with you, but I'll let you play with that on your own, but you can see how that potential could be. I mean, this is a huge payout. I can just tell you that this is a much better program, but other companies that have done something similar are well over $1 billion. And this is one of the key reasons that has helped them become over $1 billion company. Okay, so it's really meant, when we started this, it was really meant to help support and promote early growth and early leaders in our international markets. It is, every time we open an international market, guess what's gonna happen? This is gonna be open, okay? So it's up to 25 in each market. Now, there's a few other things that kind of come into play from a standpoint of continuing progress, but it really is not important now until you qualify, okay?
And let's touch on the senior review requirement.
Yeah.
So we really wanted to keep this as in line with the compensation plan as possible, just so that you aren't having to jump around and think about all of these different requirements. So when you think senior Ruby, you have your point requirements, you have your outside leg requirements, you have your personally enrolled requirements. So all of those things hold true to this plan as well, with one little exception, and that was that we understand that we want you guys to encourage people to be cross-sponsoring and tips and whatnot, and so 90% of the points required for senior Ruby and that outside leg need to come from that specific market. 10% can come from outside, but all of the points need to originate from your original sponsor or enrollments in that country. So again, to Brett's point, you really think about this as if you're starting brand new. So wherever you are in your business, as if you were a brand new ambassador as of January 1st, going into one of these markets, how do you build a senior Ruby? What's the first thing you have to do? Right, you have to recruit, right? You have to sponsor. And so from those new enrollments that you have personally enrolled, then you start building to senior Ruby. So reality is you'll probably need more than 5 personally enrolled, right? A perfect world, we would love for only 5, but you keep doing that, but the point requirements will be 90%, so 675 total points with 135 from the outside leg.
This will be a work in progress. We want to get the report done to see who's done first.
Yeah.
Secondarily, we absolutely have the request in to get some kind of a dashboard to track. Being transparent with you, this is a big lift. This is a huge lift because there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of layers to this. Again, it's not a simple program. It's a hugely powerful program. So it's going to take a little bit. We're guessing it's going to take 60 to 90 days just to get the IT and the reporting done correctly. And then we're gonna work on a dashboard in that so we can, because we want to be able to say, hey, guess what, there's 5 already.
Yeah.
Or there's 15 spots, there's only 10 left, who's the next one? And really kind of build with that and recognize that, yeah.
This is so generous of Plexus that you need to keep growing and building in these markets and showing that in addition to the compensation plan that you play in this pool.
Yeah. All right, keep us on track.